Got back just in time. Hi.
Hi,
And
friend.
welcome to Momentous
Hello.
Live, episode mystical number 23. For all you sex magic types out there.
I'm more of a Max Headroom kind of guy. So.
Okay, no Aleister Crowley in the house.
Didn't Jim Carrey do a movie about that?
Oh, the number 23. What does it mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean? So I am back in Momentous HQ here, no longer in the comfy air-conditioned hotel room like last week. But I think we'll be okay. At least it's way hotter this week as well. I'm Tristan Jucha. With me, Kitty Corner this time in the red is...
I'm Gray Williams.
And to one side of him is...
William Silver. And
beside me, returning for his 6th time. Can you believe it?
We got to stop counting. It's okay. Jamie Scott Reynolds Esquire.
Jamie Scott Reynolds Esquire.
Did you get your free coffee last episode?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm waiting for my jacket still.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll work on that.
Jacket's in order. Yeah, the momentous swag, the free coffee, all the good things. So those of you who pay attention, Mom, hi. We delayed by one day because we wanted to cover the exciting Samsung Unpacked event. And boy, they packed a lot in there, and we're going to unpack it for you today. But first, we've got a host of other random stories just to cover quickly. We did pretty well last week in keeping it close to an hour, and we intend to do the same today. I heard a breath. Did someone have something to say?
Just podcasting precision. I like it.
Perfect. There's going to be a lack of precision today since I'm driving, so we'll see how that goes here. So.
My poor MacBook is not doing well. So you guys know I took this in, and I've discovered that in the last 4 years, Apple's had this issue where if you plug power and an external monitor into the left side USB-C, things don't go well for some MacBooks. And it turns out mine is one of them. My friend Richard has another one. They've replaced the mainboard in this already. I don't know what to do with this. So anyway, that's why
get a real computer. Is that what we should do?
I've got a gaming PC downstairs.
That would be better.
It's running Windows 11.
There you go.
So hopefully this fall, just to digress, since we're talking about Apple real quick, maybe a 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro in your future, and then this one can go in the ocean.
Yeah, M1X.
Or
is it M1X or M2?
M1X, M2, yep. TBD, probably October. But first, let's talk about Amazon. You guys remember this? It was, I believe, 2016. It was right before Black Friday, oddly enough. And, I guess I'm gonna click the right button here. There we go. Look at this. Drones. Amazon released this little teaser video of a supposed drone delivery service. And got people all excited, like, what? Amazon's going to start delivering packages by drone? What? And at the time, I remember saying, people, this is just before Black Friday. This is a publicity stunt. And almost 5 years later, it sounds like, at least in the UK, they're laying off a whole bunch of people on the drone delivery team. So the question is, was this, it sounds like it was a real thing, but Jamie, do you think this was ever a realistic proposition for Amazon to deliver packages by drone?
Well, in researching this, I was struck by how similar it seemed to the hollowness of the Theranos situation, where I can't remember her name, Elizabeth something or other, or
Hugh or something.
No. Anyways, you know who I'm talking about. Anyways,
yes.
She
Liz,
had
Liz.
Vaporware, but in massive corporate form. So from what I could tell, the idea seemed logical for the next future step. Hey, we got drones, we got packages, put them together, no drivers, boom, right to your house, good to go. But when you realize that there was really no logistical weight behind this kind of situation, they had to figure everything out and engineer all these kinds of things. They realized, wow, this is actually way, way harder than we thought. And then everything just became a gong show behind the scenes of people, managers switching and employees changing jobs, and nobody really knew how to do anything. It was just, okay, let's just make it happen. It's simple. Packages, drones, make them bigger, make it happen. And in the end, I think the technological leap was just too far.
And to be fair, this is merely the UK division. We have yet to hear what's happening in other worldwide divisions, including the US. Now, Will, I know that you've had experience with some Amazon deliveries going awry, and so has our Tasia Custodi, if you all remember her. Will, how confident would you be in an Amazon drone delivery service? It's known as Prime Air, just for those paying attention here. What do you think, Will? Is it realistic?
I think to Jamie's point, it seems like a simple idea, but there's just so many variables when you're talking about flying all these devices and having different weights and sizes and going to different places and weather. There's just so many variables that you really need to work that out. And I mean, the other thing is we do have drones, but so much technology would have to be invented. Drones don't do that right now. It would actually just require so much sort of R&D, and it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen one day. It sounds like it's plausible, but again, it's just going to take so much effort that just sort of saying bing bang boom, we already have drones, we already have packages, those two things could go together, I think is simplifying it a little bit too much.
Now, Graham, you are trained in the use of firearms. Did anything occur to you when this news of this drone delivery service, Prime Air, first came on your radar? Did you think about not just the best of people, but the worst of people?
Well, I don't know if it's the worst of people to go skeet shooting, especially if the skeet comes to you. It's a great idea, right? Like, again, we're using drones to put packages and windows in places where people don't end up so happy with them at the end of it. Maybe actually using drones for a better purpose would be nice. There is a Canadian company that's doing this. So this is DDC. They're out of Vaughan, Ontario. I can't remember the name that they used to be, but they've been in the drone business for a very, very long time. And so they're already in test trials here in Canada. So I'm kind of looking at this and like, is this maybe a Brexit thing? Like, did they just not have the skills, or not have the talent, or not have the business to sustain this? But here in Canada, drone delivery is going to happen. So I'm excited to see, can they bullseye my I've got a patio up top. If they could drop packages off there, I'd be great. Because I got to tell you, the guys coming to the door can't always get the difference between East Hastings and West Hastings. That's a challenging one for them. And they call me and they sound very, very frantic. I'm like, oh, you're a couple of blocks east. You should walk towards the sunset. We'll get you.
So what you're saying is
DDC is doing it.
This is the perfect solution for the 1% that's living in the penthouse apartments, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But so here's the thing, though. And to Jamie's point, this is kind of interesting. Where does this get delivered for someone who is in an apartment building? Does it get delivered to the roof? Does it get delivered to the front door? I can tell you my experience of having something delivered to the front door here on West Hastings, Thanksgiving last year, one of my meal deliveries, which had my turkey dinner in it. The guy walked up to the door, looked at the keypad, kind of shrugged, and just dropped the dinner down. It was there for approximately 6 minutes before it was gone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this DDC off the top of your head?
Like I said, they've been in the drone business for a very long time. They were working with the military for some time there. And so turning this to a more civilian pursuit, I think is a good thing there. They're currently running trials in Alberta, I believe. So it was led by a guy named Tony before, Tony Di Benedetto. The new CEO is Michael Zara, and just kind of pushing forwards with things. He's been in the role for about 2 years, I think. And I mean, the last year has shown us we do need to have infrastructure that possibly doesn't have people involved. If we have something like another pandemic, or if there's an emergency where you can't get people through, drone delivery is great for your Amazon stuff, but you can imagine if we're trying to deliver perhaps food or supplies to people, this would be a great way to do that. Especially in an earthquake-prone region like this.
And ultimately, maybe that's the end game there. A lot of us have a tendency to overestimate things in the impact of technologies in the short term and underestimate them in the long term. But stuff like this is perfect for disaster relief, delivering things of that last mile, getting them a little closer to people and avoiding interception by others. But when it comes to package delivery for individuals, porch pirates are big enough a problem as it is. And next thing you know, you're going to have drone pirates. So we'll include DDC in the show notes as well, because it's good to have some Canadian content there. And for those keeping score at home, the founder of Theranos was Elizabeth Holmes.
Holmes, there you go.
Elementary.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Next
Elizabeth
up,
Holmes.
Next up, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey confirmed to investors that Bitcoin will be a big part of the company's future as he sees opportunities to integrate the cryptocurrency into existing Twitter products and services.
Does anybody take Jack seriously?
Well, to be fair, Jack has been pimping Bitcoin for a couple of years now. He's been a staunch advocate. They've been rolling crypto integration into Square, and just recently launched a $23.6 million Bitcoin fund with, of course, Jay-Z. And other integrations.
It's the gray blockchain. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Instead of the gray album. My God, see what you did there. So Dorsey dubbed Bitcoin one of the three key trends for Twitter's future, along with AI and decentralization.
Ooh, that's buzzword bingo right there.
Buzzword bingo.
I think he's got a bingo just with those three alone. I love the guy, and I love that he's bullish on Bitcoin. But don't you think that if you run a multi-billion-dollar company, you would be able to enunciate your plan a little bit better than it's going to be a big thing? Like, promise me, trust me. It reminds me of the guy that we've been listening to for the last 4 years who just recently made an exit. That's what it sounds like. Like, Jack, if you're going to do this kind of thing, you gotta have a little bit more substance.
Speaking of substances, maybe he's still coming down off his ayahuasca high from a couple on his last vision quest in the desert.
Have you tried DMT?
Talking to coyotes or something. Will, Jamie, I know, Jamie, you've dabbled a little bit in Bitcoin. Will, I don't think you're in there yet. Any thoughts on this? I mean, Jack is not the CEO of merely Twitter, but Square as well. And some people have criticized him for that, trying to do the old Steve Jobs, Apple and Pixar thing. But with Pixar, at least he had others mostly run the show there. Is Jack stretching himself too thin, or is this a brilliant masterstroke to integrate the financial services aspect of Square, which has been going great guns the last couple of years, and plug it in properly, not only into crypto, but into Twitter, and have that be some sort of virtuous circle going on there?
Well, I'm kind of with Gray here on this. Like, I don't really understand how Bitcoin is going to be intertwined with Twitter. Like, what does that mean? I really can't figure that one out. I haven't really looked into it, to be fair, but I think we're in such a nascent stage when it comes to all cryptocurrencies. This feels like it's the beginning of the internet in a sense. We're still in the beginning of crypto and how it's actually going to affect our society as a whole. So I think the bigger picture, from what I can tell, is that cryptocurrencies are going to be around. The big players are starting to get into it. The real money is starting to flow. And I think not just Twitter, but everything is going to start shifting that way, whether it be Bitcoin. I'm more bullish on Ethereum. But there's so many other cryptocurrencies out there that do exist. And I think it's just society in general, especially the developing countries, developing economies, are probably going to glom onto cryptocurrency, so it'll just be a big thing. I think he's just kind of he's got a vested interest in Bitcoin performing. So there's a question about I think should he be allowed to push this through means like social media? But
he's allowed to say whatever he wants as long as Elon still has a Twitter account. He can say whatever he wants.
Yeah. Elon on Saturday Night Live pushing Dogecoin, kind of led to this development, I suppose. So we'll see. Everything's it's a Wild West kind of right now. So we'll just sort of see what happens.
I think in terms of actual applications, what I could see as a benefit between the integration of Bitcoin, probably through Square, and Twitter, is to help facilitate some of the paid options that are coming to Twitter, such as super follows, a subscription style, like a newsletter style service, being able to tip Twitter creators and so on. It's the sort of features he's rolling out on other platforms, but rather than rolling their own digital currency, simply using Bitcoin. And you could use Lightning Network for microtransactions, a second layer solution there, or something like Square Payments, which does help smooth things out, and because they act as a bit of an escrow service and a market maker for the transfer of those funds, kind of like Coinbase does with Coinbase Pay and the like. So, Will, I know you follow a number of creators on social media, and including Twitter and elsewhere. Would the ability to interact financially directly with some of the people you follow, whether it's to buy merch or to tip them or to pay for premium subscriptions to exclusive content, would that perhaps encourage you to dip your toes into the Bitcoin pool?
Probably not.
It's not hard.
It was a Bruce Willis Fifth Element moment.
No.
With the microphone. Where's Chris Tucker when we need him?
No, I mean, I think, you know, in all honesty, I'm not. I'm a bit of a jokester, but I probably wouldn't. But I think it's nice for creators to have more options. I think it's also an acknowledgement too of just how much work people put into some of these channels and streams, and if somebody can make some money off of it, I'm all for it. If they want to push merch, if they want to just have the tip system, I mean, I'm not sure what the avenue or the appetite, I should say, for Twitter sort of sponsorship or tipping would be. I know in things like YouTube or Patreon, it's huge. A lot of people I follow, they have to set up a Patreon channel, or they have, the super chats when they do a live stream, and that's how they basically make money. Of course, ads on YouTube as well. So if Twitter can start adding those things, I don't know if the content feels like as much as, say, producing a 20-minute video or something like that, but there's probably an appetite out there, and I applaud if people have another avenue to try to make a career out of being, amateur journalists or videographers or what have you, and creating content on social media streams. So I think that could be a real benefit for people.
Well, if Jack was really playing 4D chess here, he would get the AI, one of the three things he's talking about, to become creators. They can do the writing and the content creation, and then people could use crypto to tip the AI directly and put it right into Twitter's coffers. How about that? We'll just cut out the middleman.
Can I tell you the future I'd pay for? The future I'd pay for is the ability to tip someone to shut the hell up. Here's $5, stop talking.
And
that's
the one that I was over.
Yeah.
But seriously, you see some people on Twitter and you're just like, God, if you could just
go
away. Good until you, just. I subscribe to Twitter Blue. You guys, that's here in one other country. I can't remember where it is. But have you seen Twitter Blue?
We had it in our rundown to talk about back in June. It was one of Tasia's stories, and then she went and decided to take Italian lessons. So we still have never talked about it, but give us the rundown. Yeah.
The biggest feature for me is Twitter Threads, being able to read them in a reader format. It does a couple of things. It does undo tweets as well, which is great because I always find that spelling mistake the second after I hit post. So it's sort of that edit button for you, but for like $2.99 a month, it's handy. And honestly, for the reader feature, it's quite good. Would I use Bitcoin to pay for that? Absolutely not. That's as a currency, it's all over the place. The $2.99 I pay right now could be thousands of dollars in the future. Bitcoin's got a problem to solve there, and I don't know how to do it. You've got other networks that have stable coins attached, and I feel good about spending those. But every time I spend Bitcoin, God, the sinking feeling in my stomach. I've made a couple of purchases at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, made my money, but it's yeah.
You don't want that 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas feeling.
No.
The other thing I'll just
at least you got extra cheese.
The other thing I would just say about about contributing to creators is that I really do feel that there's not a good system. Some of them you actually have to go through Patreon, or you have to go outside of the platform. And I think if there's some way of some of these social media companies streamlining that, I think that would also help creators.
Yeah.
And we encourage all the viewers and listeners out there to help all the creators in your lives. And someday you'll be able to help us once we get our act together and we get into the triple digits of viewers. Anyhow, moving right along, Tesla news, because it's a day ending in Y. A couple of quick things. Tesla Bioweapon Defense Mode is now standard on the Model Y. Apparently, it's been around since 2016 in the certain levels of the Model S and Model X, but coming now to the more entry-level SUV or crossover, the Model Y. So it sounds like Tesla's basically reinventing HEPA filters.
just installing them in cars and then making it a feature for it to push the air through that. But yes, yeah, pretty much.
There we go. Okay, next topic. Elon Musk says he's. Go ahead. Well,
I was just going to say this adds. It's partly the branding, right? And it adds to the whole thing that I said a couple months ago about, Elon Musk is just a 12-year-old that didn't grow up. So there's always bulletproof glass or, bioweapon defense mode.
Flamethrowers, all the good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a great attention getting. But
when you think back, like when was the last mass biological attack? We had the Tokyo attack in 1995. There was the anthrax attacks after 2001. Anything since then?
Taco Bell's Gordita.
Settle down.
Can you get this installed in your seats is the question.
But when we think about the last year, I don't know about you guys, but when the pandemic first started, I had that moment. I was sitting there going, do I need to start taping up the windows? Do I need I have a sharp plasma cluster? Do I need to have that running all the time? Do I need to tape up the vents? We didn't know. And it's... Would you rather have it, not need it?
Yeah, definitely tapping into the worst case scenario. All the preppers out there too. Like it tickles that little bit of our reptilian brains.
Fear is a wonderful motivator.
I can imagine that for the first time ever, when you pull into a Jiffy Lube, it actually is $115 for that air filter. So there we go. We brought balance to the force. It's good.
So another Elon news. Elon Musk says he's close to solving one of the hardest technical problems that's ever existed. And he's making the crazy claim that level 5 autonomy they could roll it out this year. Jamie, does this make any sense whatsoever? I thought true level 5 is like maybe 20, 30 years away. This is like you can sleep in your car. What's going on here?
Yeah, this is eliminating the steering wheel kind of situation. And it does seem, from everything we've heard story-wise about Tesla's difficulty in, for instance, discerning the moon from a yellow light, seems like getting to level 5 momentarily is... I think it's just another form of bluster from Elon. He's got to get things, get some excitement going, I suppose, and get the focus back on him and back on Tesla for some reason. But stranger things have happened. I remember watching the SpaceX rockets land back on the platforms for the first time, and that was pretty amazing. So, that's no small technical feat. So but this seems way more complicated based on the fact that vehicles and road systems and lights and pedestrian traffic is all geared around normal human evolutionary traits in how we deal with the world. So to try and teach a car to do these things just doesn't seem... It seems like we're getting close to Skynet territory if he's actually got it figured out, where we actually have to be worried about AI taking over and making us all into Matrix batteries.
Well, and to be fair, rockets don't have to contend with, like you said, pedestrians, baby carriages, cyclists and whatnot when they're trying to stick that landing. But that was pretty amazing when they started sticking those landings, and I think part of Elon's MO is just to iterate, fail until you succeed. Make these pronouncements. Maybe you don't hit them at the dates that he says, but gets there eventually. And to clarify what his statement actually was having he says, I remain confident that we will have the basic functionality for level 5 autonomy complete this year. So that doesn't mean necessarily rolling it out into cars this year, and that could still be years away, given the amount of testing required.
What does that mean? Basic functionality of 5. It just doesn't. It's all magic. Just don't look at the man behind the curtain.
But the thing is like, what is it? Like, what is that light bulb that's gone off? What breakthrough have they made in the labs? And there's another video that was going around recently that shows how deeply involved Elon Musk is in the labs. He's not, merely a hype guy, right? He gets in there, gets his hands dirty, a bit of a polymath, it seems like. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the proof's in the pudding, right? You can only BS the investor on these investor calls for so long. People have been pretty patient, but they, Tesla started making money. SpaceX is doing what they promised, and getting their big contracts with NASA and whatnot. Part of the challenge with Tesla is half of their revenue comes from payments from other car makers who are basically getting, it's kind of a form of carbon credits until they get their EV production ramped up. So, I mean, he's trying to push things forward as quickly as possible and get truly profitable in a larger sense before all the rest of the competition basically catch up. Because, I mean, you see Teslas everywhere now, at least here in the Vancouver area. And I think the danger is getting to a bit of a saturation point. We've talked in previous episodes about some of the other cooler designs or different designs we're seeing from other car makers, even like Kia, but we still don't have the penetration from them yet.
But this is also the classic sort of Silicon Valley mode, right? Is that you do need the goods at the end of the day, but Steve Jobs kind of invented this about the mouth talking and the people trying to figure out how to actually make the checks that he's writing, how can they cash them? And we brought up Elizabeth Holmes earlier. Her problem was there was no money in the bank to cash those checks. She kept on faking it till she made it, but she could never make it. So that's where I think, might be a little bit of this, not to the Elizabeth Holmes level, because there was no substance there. I think Elon is trying to do stuff and they are actively working on things, but maybe he's just blustering till they can push it forward.
So speaking of technological advancements, we saw a few of them from Samsung today in the form of 2 folding phones. The Galaxy Z Fold 3 and the Galaxy Z Flip 3. But before we show those, I wanted to show some folding items of my own from over the years, starting not with a cell phone per se, but a folding Donkey Kong Game & Watch unit from like 1982 or so. You can see that folds. Nice. 2 separate screens. This was like the Microsoft Surface Duo of its time, with a mechanical hinge here, not trying to bend a screen. Lots and lots of hours of fun DS. On that one. Exactly.
The original Nintendo DS.
A different approach, of course, the Nokia Communicator 9000i here. So, someday we're going to have a series of momentous videos like Retro Corner from Tristan's Cabinet of Curiosities. You'll notice here a full QWERTY keyboard, a non-backlit screen, just for extra, eye strain. This was 1998. It had web, email, telephone, calendar, contacts, texting, sending and receiving faxes as well.
I can hear Harrison Ford in the background. It belongs in a museum.
And then lastly, this is somewhat getting into Jamie's territory a little bit. Oh, actually, before we get into there, what is this? I think this is one of my father-in-law's old phones. This is like a Samsung. Here we go. Samsung represent. This is more classic Flipstone. I don't even know, dude. Don't even know.
I think it is.
Look at that.
I sold a lot of those phones.
Retractable antenna. Nice. Ooh. So pretty compact. And then the Handspring Trio 270. I lusted after these for ages. Nice. Again, a flip up. Well, you can see what's happened there with the. They should have maybe done some more like IKEA style testing with the robots on this flip up screen, but only one screen, not 2. So Donkey Kong had the edge there. Again, the full QWERTY keyboard. So I know Jamie's a longtime fan of Palm OS, and this was a great device for its time. But just toss those over the shoulder there, and let's see what Samsung has in store for all the folks out there. Galaxy Z Fold 3, lighter, smaller, more durable, and less expensive. And then, of course, the Z Flip 3, which folds up and down more like the other Samsung phone we're looking at there. Now, not going to dig into the speeds and feeds too much on this, but just a few things, and then we can toss it around for discussion with these. Is I think credit to Samsung, they released the Fold, the original Fold, probably too early, before it was baked. Had some issues. They kind of like scuttled it, and then the next year came out with the Fold 2, which had a number of improvements, including the reliability of the hinge and the screen, and the Fold 3. Again, they're iterating. They've got 120 hertz refresh rates on I believe on both of these devices. Incredible camera rays, of course, on the On the Flip, they have the little mini screen on. Actually, no, they have mini screens on both of them. Correct? Just different sizes and orientations. Yeah, it's a bigger screen on the Fold. The Fold, of course, folds out more to like a tablet style orientation, where the Flip goes from a square up into like a tall smartphone orientation. The Flip being the cheaper of the two. Both of them have come down in price, about $200 US each from their previous iterations. So, starting at about $1,000 US each. Now, Jamie, as our official momentous Samsung correspondent, what are your initial
When did
thoughts
that happen?
on the Pokemon correspondent too, and all the other things?
I guess
right?
so. I guess so.
There's a couple other products which we'll get into after this, but let's cover the phones first.
Yeah, you know what? It's just cool. It's just kind of cool. I'm kind of surprised, just from a layman's point of view, that they actually stuck with these things, because I've never seen one in the wild. I don't look for them, and maybe I'm not seeing people walk around just flipping their phones open and closed. But I never liked them. I thought they were just gadgets just to show off. Look, I have a phone that folds. But now I'm looking at the Fold, the tall one that folds out into more of a tablet. You see that on the screen right there, and boy, it's kind of interesting. I learned that they've actually got the S Pen support for it as well. You do need a special S Pen for it, but you can open it up into tablet form and then draw on the screen. And just with some of the enhancements, one of them being that there's a camera when it's closed, a camera on the back of the phone, like a regular phone. When you open it up, they do have a camera on the front of the screen as well, but it is actually an under-screen camera. So they've introduced a very new technology into this as well, where you can have your selfie camera, which when not being used actually has some pixels in front of it, so you can kind of tell there's a camera there, but there's actually color and stuff going on in front of the camera. So they've thrown a lot of stuff at this and just said, hey, we're just making something cool for people, I think, and it is actually kind of interesting to look at. It seems a little bulky for the pocket. I don't know. To me, I'm so practical with what I do. I like to have something that I can just put in my pocket, grab out, but I don't really want to look like I have got a package of cigarettes in my pocket, which is kind of what this thing would end up looking like. But use case wise, use case wise, it may have some function for somebody like me who uses a phone, but also I like to carry around a tablet so I can draw on it. I have an old Samsung tablet I use for that, just again for usability. But to have all in one device, it's an interesting. It's becoming an interesting kind of product.
Graham, any thoughts on this this sort of form? Oh, did we lose Gray?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. Any thoughts on this form factor? Are you wishing, like, even if you wouldn't be swayed to Samsung, are you hoping that Apple's exploring this form factor?
Oh, hell no. I don't need moving parts of my phone. That's ridiculous. I love the look of the Fold 3. It's great. It looks like a Game Boy Advance SP. Love the orange. The clock on the front is great. I actually had a chance to go hands-on with the Fold 1, 0, Fold negative when it first came out, and it was terrible. Like, there was this film on it that we thought was the protective film that guys never removed from the and we did. We're like, oh yeah, don't do that. That's actually, it's load bearing. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And so looking at these now, I'm looking back at it, like, it's a neat idea. And for anyone who is excited for it, I'm excited for you. I just can't be excited for myself on this. A hinge in a device that I drop like 3 times a day. It's like this. God bless the Apple leather cases for these things, because this is my 3rd one for this phone. They get brutalized. The phone doesn't. It's great.
Have you considered a string like some people would have with mittens?
I've actually considered getting a personal assistant to carry my phone. Just hear you. I can't be trusted.
One thing with the
this.
hinge that I thought was kind of fascinating is there's an IP water rating for the hinge now, where you can actually dunk the whole thing in water for 30 minutes at 1.5 meters or something like that, and it's rated for that. So
that's usually what I want to do with Samsung phones. So that's great.
So IPX8. That's great. That's definitely a huge advancement for the foldables. But the X means that it's opposed to IP68. it is not dust resistant. And so
Correct.
that is still one of the things that they're working out, because getting dust and debris in the hinge business was a bit of a weakness in the previous model. So that's
the Instagrammers at Burning Man are going to really suffer with this phone.
So, but I guess the thing that I look at as impressive is somebody who's innovating. They're actually, hey, you know what? We're going to keep working on this thing. Do we think there's some validity to it? And I think there could actually be, as they progress, as they make it thinner, as they make it more durable, get water resistance now, maybe dust resistance later. Who knows? But again, I think it's kudos to Samsung to say, hey, we're just going to put some new, different things out there, and rather than just rely on our large market share and selling just our regular phones, let's do something new and interesting, and then maybe that'll lead to something in the future. I don't know. I'm unlike Apple products, I prefer innovation. So.
Well, innovation, my ass. So I wore this shirt for a reason, and that is because you're going to have a flip phone. It's got to have that satisfying click, and I've yet to see a phone that really does it. They bring the Razor back, and it still didn't have the good, I want the
really. Yeah.
It's
and there's a couple different.
Samsung, you did it.
Yeah. And it speaks to the differing approaches too. Like Samsung tends to beta test in public, whereas Apple tests in private, right? Apple tends to try to polish things before releasing them.
And there he goes.
We lost Tristan.
So Samsung has booted him right off the internet, and that's something that happens when you get a little cheeky about that.
Well, I was going to add, actually, I'm not, as you guys know, I'm an Apple guy. I'm not going to get one of these. My wife is psyched. She is looking forward to the Flip. She's done all the research, so she really wants one. I worry about the long-term durability of these things.
I do too.
And the screens, and but to your point, Jamie, she's just keen on something new and different. So,
and that's the thing. I think it's kind of fun. It's like the I was, when I got my new Samsung S21 Ultra, I actually missed this fingerprint button on the back here, but boy, the in-screen fingerprint reader is it's become kind of a favorite little thing for me now, and so yeah, those kinds of innovations are fun to have. I didn't even know I needed it, but now I do.
Now you love it.
A couple of pluses and minuses here. I'm back. Pardon my my browser froze up. Thanks, Microsoft Edge, but I'm back now. I like
decision.
I like this thing. Well, it's just, that's what you get with Chrome running it on the back end. Let me just go back to my screen share here, and I'm going to show you exactly. I like this on the Flip. Because it flips down to a square size, and you get the little mini screen. Of course, the Fold has the tall screen, but the little Flip here just gives you enough, and it's larger than on the Flip 1. It's a lot more useful. You can scroll through notifications. You can swipe back and forth between these mini apps. Super cool. One of the things that is not so cool, Jamie, you mentioned that the selfie camera on there, which is great in theory that it's behind the screen. Apparently, just from the testing that has been done so far by the reviewers that have had it under embargo for the last week or two, the photos are not very good at all. It's like it's basically potato cam on there.
No, I disagree with you on that. I actually saw some videos and some comparisons. And if you have a direct light shining towards the camera, it's a bit of an issue because it's shining through the pixels.
You get a screen door effect,
but if you don't have that from the pictures that I saw and even the video that I saw, I was actually, for something that's this new and this untested, for a selfie camera, it's great. If you want a real picture, you're not going to be using the selfie camera anyways. Nobody does. They use the cameras on the back. That's why both things exist. So yes, I'm happy to say that it's definitely not the same quality, but of course not. But you're not buying this particular machine so you get the best selfie camera on the market.
Well, and so that's important for someone making a buying decision, though. Like if they're getting something because it's the new hotness, and then they notice a downgrade in a particular feature,
absolutely,
that's something to be aware of. Then one of the other fundamental questions, though, this is the sort of event that we would normally hear about the next iteration of the Note. Is the Note dead? Is they because we've got S Pen support on the Galaxy S21 now? Is that correct? And on the Flip and the Fold. So is the rest in peace Note? Is anyone?
I've never used a Note. I don't really know. I haven't really paid attention to it.
They were on fire there for a while, but
Wah wah. I see. I understood that reference.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yes. Anything with batteries, yes. Everyone has their day. It happened to the power books back in the 90s.
If you go, we need to bring it up, but if you go back and take a look at that webpage, there is a shot with a woman who is writing a note on the bottom of the screen while she is video conferencing with two people on top of the screen. And at some point, she's writing in front of the camera. Like they're
the laptop mode. What is that? Where did it go? It actually looked really cute. It reminded me of my communicator. But is that something? Is this
a realistic use case?
Yeah. But I'll turn it back on here. There you go. Is someone actually going to use it? Like, I mean, the camera angle is going to be nuts on that. It's fun to dream. But that's called flex mode. So they're definitely flex in there. For me, I'm still a little wary of the bending screen. You got the seam that you're going to see. How does that wear over time? The previous models, it's been a bit of an issue. I like the approach of the Surface Duo, where it's actually two separate screens. They're as close together as they can get them, but then you're not bending a screen back and forth the whole time. It's just the hinge, and the hinge alone is enough for concern. So, but I think once these get more into people's hands, the flip, again, to a small correction, the flip starts at $1,000 US, but the fold starts at $1,800 US. So, Jamie, that's probably not why we're not seeing a ton of the previous versions in there, because this is $200 less than the previous one. So, still premium, but that's how it works, right? They got to get the volumes up and the economies of scale, and then if enough people buy them, the prices will eventually drop.
Exactly.
So, quick round robin here, starting with Will. So, Will, if someone put a gun to your head and said, you got to choose the fold or the flip. You're folding into a tablet or you're flipping into a tall smartphone. Which one's it going to be, Will?
I would say the flip.
Get the flip. All right. Jamie?
The fold. For what I do, it would actually be kind of useful.
And Gray, don't say neither. Don't be cheeky.
No,
I was waiting for neither.
I would do the flip. I've got a tablet, so I don't really want something that folds out into a tablet. And I think that smaller size, I remember the Game Boy Advance SP, I used to carry it around in my back pocket, much like I do with my phone now. Mm-hmm. And just, there was something satisfying about pulling that out and then just kind of that, giving it the whip out type of thing, like click. And so, I do the flip. Now, of course, something drastic would have to happen at that point. Probably a really bad car accident.
What if
amoeba?
What if it came with a crank?
I keep getting emails about the plate, and I'm really excited about it. I told you I pre-ordered one, didn't I?
I didn't get I missed the 2021, so I'm just going to play with yours.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, it was funny because during the window where I bought it, their international payment processor went down. So I used my American credit card and had it shipped to 5D packages in the States. Mm-hmm. We don't know if the border is going to be open, so my plate could be sitting there for a while. I've had plates sitting there. I ordered cutlery. It's been sitting there for quite some time.
I've got a pair of sandals on the other side of the border. Just waiting to be worn. So believe it or not, there were other devices announced at Samsung Unpacked. One, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2, which some of the reviews are saying basically a more affordable Galaxy Buds Pro. A lot of the same features, nice tight form factor. Got wither the beans, and now the buds. Gray, you were an early adopter on the Apple AirPods bandwagon. What are your thoughts on this upgrade to the Buds, which about $150 US, a bit more expensive than was it Nothing that we talked about previously, the Nothing one, which looked pretty slick. Yeah, $99 US. Now Galaxy's got Samsung's got more of a known name brand here. Initial thoughts on the Galaxy Buds 2?
It's great seeing active noise canceling coming at this price point. Right, $99, $150. It's good. This is going to put downward pressure on the price for Apple. So we're going to see active noise canceling come to AirPods. So what's the next thing for AirPods Pro? That's the thing that I'm interested in. Great little form factor. Obviously the industry's kind of figured it out. Apple got it right. Take your headphones, stick them in the case recharges them. You got 5 hours of battery life on the headphones. You got 20 hours of battery life in the case. Great. And everyone was all up in arms when this first came out. It's like, really, it just works. So Samsung's picked up on that. So it's great. They've got ear detection. They've got all the good stuff that you want. And so for $150, if you're a Galaxy customer, this is great. I'm happy for them.
And so far, it sounds like the quality, the sound quality is good. The battery life is decent, and the noise canceling is decent as well. So it seems like a win all around. Just for especially if you want something that works more seamlessly with with your Galaxy phone. The shape is interesting. It reminds me of some of the adult accessories we saw at CES a number of years ago. The USB charged ones, but lots of different, a few different colors. Some nice shiny. These are the old. This is comparing the Beans to the Buds.
It
looks like
reminds
Beans
me
are
of the
going away.
Sony Bean MP3 player, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. And so again, it gives us an entry-level option, cheaper than the Buds Pro. Now, Jamie, I know we only talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You're still in the wired bandwagon. I expressed my concern about getting wires, caught on the doorknobs and the like. Would you be tempted by some Galaxy Buds Pro? They would match your nice new phone.
Yeah, it just seems like too much money. It just seems like too much money. I do have those quasi-wireless headphones that wrap around or connected by a wire behind my neck, and they go that way, and so they're not connected to my phone. They are Bluetooth. So that works great for me when I'm out in the garden or doing exercising, anything like that, because I do so much exercising. But yeah, if somebody were to give them to me for $50, I'd be like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll give them a try. But the one thing I did hear, because I have tried the different buds to see how they feel in my ear, and I'm generally uncomfortable with them. I did hear that at least the previous version of the Galaxy Buds, they are apparently the best form factor, even compared to the iPods that generally people agree. This new one that they've created is a little bit different, so apparently it's not quite as good. So I don't really know. To me, they put sound in my ears. As long as it's really good, reasonably good quality, I'm fine with it. And so no, I am not going to be jumping on the bandwagon here.
So all it would take for you is a 66% discount, and then you'd consider
Correct.
it.
Simple. Just sell it to me at cost.
Could I, however, interest you in a Samsung Galaxy Watch 4?
Yes, actually, those look kind of cool.
Sporty and stylish options here with round faces. What a concept! And rocking. Graham, you want to give us a rundown on the?
No, I don't.
No.
I'm sorry. I just my head was going to a conversation that I had with Ian Hannamansing at CBC when the Apple Watch first came out.
Name drop. Right.
There you go. I'm going to tag him in this later.
Yeah.
The handsome man thing. Yeah. And at the time, he was like, "This thing is never going to take off." And there was the $18,000 Apple Watch edition at the time, which was it was powered by hubris. So
Johnny Ive, yeah,
just pure, unadulterated diamond chanted Ive.
How do you recharge hubris?
You gotta do it in infinite loop.
Very carefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see. Like, Apple's obviously got their iconic look. Everybody else has gone round, and it's interesting to see because you can spot people with which brand they are from a mile away. Because if you got a smartwatch that doesn't look like this, you're an Android user, most likely. And so they think like they're packed with power. Nobody's really got great battery life on these things. We're still charging once every day and a half. There's a Fitbit I think that did like 20 days. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. As I'm looking at this and saying this is iterative. It's great. It's beautiful and wonderful, but it's just nothing's like even Apple since the Apple Watch series. What was it, 5 that had the always on screen? They're in 6 now. Nothing. Even the always on screen didn't wow me. It was sort of from the dual core processor. I'm like, okay, cool. Like the watch does what it's supposed to do. But to Jamie's point, like where's the innovation?
So what they've done here is moved to Wear OS 3. Wear OS 3 in terms. Previously they were using Tizen. So now they're migrating toward the one smartwatch operating system that they're going to be collaborating with Google on. But sorry, Jamie, I cut you off. What were you going to add there?
No, I think that's, I'm not a big watch wearer, so I was never interested in the Apple Watch stuff nor the other ones. But I kind of like how it doesn't shout at me like, look here, I'm cool. I have a fancy technology watch. I like it. It blends in. It could be just a regular watch. But I also was intrigued by the fact that it's Google, Samsung, and Fitbit have gone together to create this new watch, and it seems to be fairly robust with what they've done with it. So it's kind of a more natural looking thing. Again, I'm not a big watch wearer, so I don't think I would run out and say, oh, I got to have this thing. But if I had to wear one, I actually prefer the look. I'm sorry, Graham. I prefer the look of a more traditional watch. I know it's not Apple, but it's for me. I like the round form factor, and I quite like the idea of the round spinning. You can spin the bezel, or I guess is that what they call it on a watch, and to do selection things. It seems like kind of a neat idea, but it's just kind of a more blending in technology, which I kind of like, make it useful, and but I haven't used it, so I can't really say whether or not I would actually find it useful.
All it took to get Fitbit on board was for Google to actually buy them.
Those things.
Now, Will, you have been a Fitbit wearer for a number of years. And, the nice, simple band, not the full-on watch with the full screen, but more of the simple monochromatic LED display there. Now, you haven't gone the Apple Watch route, despite the fact that you're largely an Apple user. Are you holding out for a more traditional design? Would you be tempted by what Samsung is offering here, despite the fact that they've actually dropped Apple support? They've dropped iOS support from this. But if they did in a universe where they maintained that iOS support, would you prefer this sort of round form factor as opposed to the round rect that we see with the Apple Watches?
You might remember this, Tristan. I actually owned quite a few watches, and for a number of years, and not just Fitbit, like old analog, wind watches and things like that. Not expensive watches, but just I liked watches, and I used to wear a very clunky watch, a very heavy watch. And I got off it because I was starting to get wrist problems, and I was constantly taking it off because I work at a computer all day. I stopped wearing a watch, and I really got into the Apple Fitness app and tracking my steps. This was about maybe 6 years ago. Got into that, and I got a Fitbit because I didn't want a big clunky watch. I just wanted something that would track my steps a little bit better and give me a little bit more data, and then give me the time. I don't need apps. I don't need a bunch of things. I have a phone for that. People who want a more robust digital offering, that's great. Fitbit was really focused on the fitness and the tracking and the analytics and the data and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm on Fitbit. I personally like the lighter Fitbit, that it's not a full watch with gears and all this kind of stuff. It's just, a plastic shell with no sole, and it just tells me my steps and the time. So that's really all I need it for. So that's my personal use case, because if I need more, I just open up my phone or my tablet.
Gotcha. We're going to throw back to you in a couple of minutes, Will, to talk about this Star Wars hotel thing. But you're getting a little bit of static on your line once again, so
really?
I'll let you have a quick look at that. About one last kind of strange point about the launch of the Galaxy Watch 4 is that it's being released without support for Google Assistant or Google Music out of the gate. And this is one of these things where, like, it seems like they're trying to hit a date as opposed to have it fully baked before actually releasing it there. So again, that's a little heads up to anyone who's thinking of ordering this. Maybe keep, if those are apps that are important to you, if you like to ask Google to help you things like right to your watch rather than pulling your phone out of your pocket, which is the whole idea of having a smartwatch in the first place, being able to use your assistant, be it Google Assistant, Siri, or what have you. Pour one out for Bixby, and that is not going to be ready at launch, and same with support for Google Music as well. So that's basically the four main things from Samsung Unpacked, and our last proper story, a bit of a fun one. Will, you found us some info on Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. What? Hotel? What is it? What are we doing here? What
Yeah,
is this?
hopefully I sound a little bit better.
You do.
Much better.
Yeah. So basically, this is continuing on after Disney bought Star Wars, and one of the big things that they did, obviously, they did a few more movies, but they also created the Star Wars land in Florida and Disney World, and in LA and Disneyland, called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And this is kind of a natural extension of that. And one of the things that was sort of the mantra or the vision, goals, whatever you want to say it, of Galaxy's Edge was to put you into a Star Wars story, to your own Star Wars story, to have a sort of the most immersive theme park experience ever. Now, this is the premium version of that. Basically, it's a hotel, and you sort of pretend that you're going on a cruise on a galactic star cruiser, and you spend 2 days. There's some story elements that happen as a result. There's some unique food. Some characters come and visit. There's people in costumes. And a little bit for people who are Disney aficionados, it's actually one of the first times they're encouraging you to dress up, as we see in that video, and actually cosplay. They don't let adults cosplay in Disneyland, partly because they have characters like Mickey Mouse and Elsa and all these other people dressed up, so they don't let adults dress up as characters. There's a whole other thing called bounding, which is sort of you sort of pretend to dress up, but you're not really dressing up. It's very complicated. It's very Disney. Anyways, so they're actually encouraging cosplay. But the big item here, okay, Will, you've been blabbering on. You've been explaining this. How much does this cost? So what I'll say is, are you sitting down? So this is for 2 nights, for 2 people. This is $5,000 US.
I'm in.
A moment of hesitation. Wow.
Yeah, I'm in.
It's a premium experience. Like they're advertising this as a premium experience.
So look at this. Like this is fun. This is Westworld without the androids. You go in and you have all of your stuff, and then they've got the maybe events. Like it might be this or it might be that. And if you're into it, like if you're really just giving her, like if you're going to pay $5,000 for this, want to be there, right? And just live in the moment. We went. Ray and I went to a speakeasy called Peel and Evans in London, and it's Peel and Evans Detective Agency. And you ring the bell and you tell the guy at the door, "I've got a case." And he takes you down a flight of stairs, and you're in a small, 5 foot by 7 foot room, and he starts talking to you about mob violence. He's like he's a 1930s detective, and we play along, and it's something about cement shoes. And I look over and I see the book, and I pull the book about cement, and the door opens, and the speakeasy's behind it. It's awesome. We don't get enough chances to play as adults, and they've got a family of 4 package as well. But if you love Star Wars, if you want to have some fun, this is awesome. I will do this. I will save the money and I will do this. I haven't been to Disney in 20 years. Yeah, I'm there.
So like Westworld without the androids, hopefully without the violent rapes as well too. That would be.
Well, I mean, Yul Brynner was more of a stalk you and kill you Terminator style. That was the old Westworld. So
exactly, the newer Westworld is a little grittier. So I was going to throw to you on that, Graham, being our official cosplay correspondent, but it sounds like you didn't hesitate. Now, Jamie, you're an OG Star Wars fan. You have the Star Wars soundtrack on vinyl, and you've played it for me on your old-timey record console.
Yes, absolutely.
Now,
it's a real console.
You might have an anniversary coming up. So do we see this Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser getaway in the books for you and your lovely wife?
It's something. My wife Christy is actually a big, huge Star Wars nerd as well. So it might be something we would consider doing. And our boys, they're in their 20s now, but I got them onto Star Wars properly, Episode 4, 5, and 6, and then whatever happened after that, I don't know. But it seems like it might be a fun thing to give it a go and see how it is, because I think that's something for my generation. We always kind of fantasized about being able to be in that universe and to be part of the Resistance, or to be Darth Vader, or to be a stormtrooper. Who knows what it is, but it's a interesting universe, and it seems like it would be something fun to just lose yourself for a couple of days and just have a really good time. And I'm with Gray. I think it'd be worth just doing it. And then instead of being on my deathbed and saying to myself, "Oh, I wish I had cosplayed at Disney Galactic Cruise," whatever it is. And probably worth it. One thing that when I was reading the article, because I knew nothing about this until I read it, and I kept reading. I'm like, so is this a cruise? What? Like, nowhere does it really say this is a hotel, nor does it say it's not a cruise. I thought you actually got on a cruise boat and did this thing. So that the hotel makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say it's a false advertising. It's not a galactic star cruiser. It doesn't go to space. Elon and Richard and Jeff aren't involved at all. So I call
Technically,
shenanigans.
Earth is spinning through space, and so any cruise you go on is a galactic cruise. I'm just
Starship
saying,
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna split hairs here.
Jamie, they do say in the what to pack section, you should pack hair supplies for your favorite Star Wars hairstyle. So.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, I'm going with the Jar Jar.
Yeah, I'm heading towards Mace Windu slowly but surely.
I think the other interesting thing is, first of all, I'll say that, I'm not sure I'm going to do this, but I love that it exists. I love that they're trying this. I love that this is an option for people who want to do it. It's also super interesting. I haven't heard of anything like this where, to your point, Jamie, is it a cruise? Is it a hotel? It's priced like a cruise. It's sort of like a cruise, but it's actually a hotel. Sorry, I'm ruining the secret. But it's interesting that they're trying this. You're basically, they keep you occupied. They keep you fed. You go into Disney World and see Galaxy's Edge, and that continues on part of the story. It's sort of like a cruise where you go off ship and you have an excursion. And they blended it all into this thing, but it's really a hotel. I've never heard of anything like this where it's so immersive, it's pretending to be something else, but you're actually just in a box for 2 days.
It's a giant escape room.
Yeah.
It could have been themed like Michael Douglas the Game, but instead they went Star Wars, so it's great.
Nice reference.
There you go.
And just to clarify, this is in Walt Disney World, so in Orlando. So if you're really lucky at the cantina, you just might run into Florida Man.
Here's a cup of coronavirus.
So that's it for our stories for this week. We'll bring this in just under time. Of course, I would be remiss to not mention Taja's last couple of projects. She's got a video for us on YouTube that came out 6 days ago. So she's got another one dropping soon. Our last one was the best cheap laptops 2021. So again, a little 10-minute video where she distills some of the best deals on laptops nowadays for the back to school season. And then she also dropped another episode of her podcast, Talk Techie to Me, where she sums up the current climate emergency, Code Red for Humanity, how we created a climate crisis and what we can do about it now. So you can find out more about that at TajaCustody.com and her YouTube channel at youtube.com/TajaCustody. And if you want to learn more about us here at Momentous, you can visit us at momentous.tv, twitter.com/momentous.tv, facebook.com/momentous.tv, instagram.com/momentous.tv, and on YouTube, search for my name and look for the Momentous playlist. We've got a Momentous Live playlist there as well. Thank you all for coming a day late. We managed to get everyone here, except Taja. I hear that she just might be back next week, so we might not see Jamie, but we really appreciate Jamie coming. I think this was your sixth appearance, and it's soon you're going to be getting up into the Taja territory, and we're going to have like a battle, and two enter, only one leaves, and all that kind of thing. But Jamie,
too soon. Where's the Gorn?
So special thank you to Jamie Reynolds, of course, Gray Williams, William Silver. I'm Tristan Jutra, looking for the right button to press to get us out of here, and we'll see you next week.